What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Take Three podcast. My name is Brandon, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host Alex. Tuesday afternoon, Week 12 recap time. Usual slot for the recap. Interesting week, nonetheless. I guess. I mean, Thanksgiving kind of came and went. Raiders go on the road, get a nice little upset victory over the depleted Cowboys. The Cowboys suddenly their perfect season as it started is slowly reeling backwards. We see Buffalo go into New Orleans, decimate them. Obviously, the no running backs and Trevor Siemian ain't it. We saw how that went. Tom Brady, we'll get into that, goes on the road. They finally get a win. Didn't look great, but wins are wins in this league. Cam Newton returns to, back to the coffin, I guess. Bad showing, ugly. What else? Mac Jones in New England. On the other end, they keep things rolling. Bill Belichick and those guys, 36-13, big W. We'll get into that a little bit. Cincy stomps out the Steelers. Didn't see that really coming. Always knew that Cincy could win, but I didn't think it'd be a 31-point margin. Big Ben returns to how he usually looks. Chargers continue to sputter. Rams continue to sputter. The 49ers, though, continue to get healthier and look better as they're now 6-5. We were counting them out just a couple of weeks ago, but they're kind of back in this thing. It might be a dark horse team to watch as they continue to get healthy. And obviously Sunday and Monday night, ugly football games. Ravens find a way to win. Obviously, shout out to the Browns, force 4 turnovers, only score 3 points. Elite offense there. Shout out Baker Mayfield. You're trending towards costing yourself more money. And then obviously we watched the wild ending to the Washington football team and the Seahawks last night. So, I mean, I already said a mouthful. How are you feeling on a Tuesday afternoon?
Yeah, interesting weekend. Another poor week spread picks. I'm kind of sliding there, but it's one of those weekends where we're starting to see like the real separation among the teams. That was week 12. We're getting pretty far into the season. We're seeing teams that started hot, falling off, Cowboys, Chargers, teams that like started bad, getting better with the Niners. And we're just seeing separation as the Packers beat the Rams. We're seeing like the Bucs go on the road to beat the Colts. We're seeing some separation between the top teams of the NFC and AFC. And like the championship picture and the contenders are getting clearer.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, we'll just start off right there. You mentioned the Rams and the Packers. We'll start off with the elephant in the room. The Rams come off a bye week. We all expected them, all three of us in the spreads. They were a 1 point, basically a pick 'em. We thought broken toe Aaron Rodgers, 3-0 linemen down. This is set up for the Rams to just go on the road, look good coming off a bye. They do the exact opposite. I mean, if you look at the stat line, Matt Stafford technically had a good day, but he really didn't get it going until late. And when it didn't really matter. He threw another pick six. That's 3 straight games with a pick six. For Matt Stafford, they fought a 7-4. They were a team that, I mean, we were saying they're the most complete team in the NFC. They're the guys to beat. They add Von Miller. They still have Aaron Donald. They have Ramsey. They had everything that you loved, right? Then Robert Woods goes down. They get Odell. And all of a sudden, as everything's kind of spiraling, Matt Stafford falls into 0-17 against teams that are 5 games or more over 500 when he matches up. What are we doing with the Rams? I mean, they're not looking good. It's kind of, this is what Matt Stafford wanted, and we're kind of now for a third game in a row where they're falling out of it very fast, and maybe he bit off a little bit more than he could chew. And we're kind of seeing now when the pressure is on Matt Stafford, what he really is. I mean, no offense, I think he's a great quarterback, but there's a different level of pressure now in LA than there was when he's in Detroit.
Oh, without a doubt. And the pressure, I don't know if it's the pressure that's bothering him, but like he has not looked good. 3 pick sixes in a row. I'm pretty disappointed with Matthew Stafford. I thought this was, well, for the second time now, I thought this is where the Rams bounce back and get it going. Like you said, kind of beat up Green Bay, hurt toe Aaron Rodgers, coming off a bye week. They haven't looked good, and they just kind of continue the trend of not looking good. This team is so talented, and there's so much talent on this roster that there's like, it's hard to find like a legitimate reason of why they're underperforming. Is it maybe it is Matthew Stafford just can't handle the pressure? Another pick six that was bad. There's times when the offense looks lethal and it's moving the ball well, and there's times where the offense cannot move the ball. And like to me, I thought the offense was more of a problem than the defense. You gave it 36 points as Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. That's hard to cover. Like the defense does need to be better, especially the pass rush. Von Miller and Aaron Donald. I remember one big play from Von Miller, but that was really it. I watched this entire game start to finish. I was just pretty much disappointed with the Rams start to finish. I don't really know what the fix is. Like, if you're the Rams, is it just simply like cleaning up your play and playing better? Like, what exactly is the fix?
Yeah, I don't know if there really is a fixed run game. I mean, they only got 16 carries for 55 yards. We've been harping on for weeks through this slump that the run game that's so crucial to Sean McVay's offense and how it rolls. We saw it through the Jared Goff days. They really rely heavy on the run, and that would set up Jared Goff to make the easy passes. Without that, they're kind of just a drop back sling it team, and you're kind of seeing that even more, right? Stafford's throwing 40, 50 passes a week, and it's not working. And yeah, the pass rush, I mean, you bring those guys in, you bring Von Miller, you have Aaron Donald, and only get one sack against a team that's down at 3-0 linemen, including their starting left tackle, both of their left tackles, to be honest. The all-pro David Bakhtiari is still out. And then they lose Elgin Jenkins last week. So they're down 3 linemen. You would assume coming off a bye week, they'd be able to get to the quarterback, especially one with a broke toe, but it suddenly looked like Matt Stafford looked like the guy with the broke toe. And Aaron Rodgers didn't. Obviously, I heard reports, multitude of injuries, thumb, back, whatever. But I mean, we're in week, 12, 13 now. Every guy's banged up. I mean, he just played against a quarterback that wasn't coming off a bye with a broke toe. So I don't really look at that as an excuse. Yeah, the Rams just have to be better. I mean, they're falling out of the legitimate top, I'd say. I mean, their O-line's concerned, just their whole the whole scheme is they added a lot of talent, and usually see these teams that continue to add names and add names and add names. They don't always work out.
Yeah, and you're saying they're falling off. I kind of think they've fallen out for the contenders of the NFC. To me, there was like 5 really good NFC teams, right? It was like the Bucs, the Packers, the Rams, the Cowboys, and the Cardinals. And then the Rams and the Cowboys have not looked good lately. Cowboys, you get a few excuses because of the wide receivers, but they haven't looked good. And now the Rams haven't looked good. It seems like we see some separation between Green Bay, Tampa Bay, and Arizona.
Yeah, for sure. Those 3 at the top. Call me crazy, but I would probably take the 49ers right now getting healthy over the Rams and the Cowboys at this point in time. I like where I criticize Kyle Shanahan, but I like where they're trending compared to where the other 2 teams are trending as regards with the health situation, just the overall how they're playing week to week.
I don't think that's crazy. Yeah, they've been playing much better. The healthier they get, the Niners on paper have the roster to do it. So here they come.
Exactly, for sure. So, I mean, we'll keep a look on the Rams. The Rams got to figure it out. There's a lot of, when you bring all those guys in, obviously you get rid of every pick. It's, you got to win or something has got to give. But yeah, let's move on to another team. We got the 7-4, now 7-4 Cincinnati Bengals defend their home field, a place where they got absolutely smacked the other way. It's funny, they beat the Steelers 41-10. And 2 weeks ago, they lost 41-17 on the same field to the Browns, who looked like absolute garbage. So the Bengals they reel us in. I love it. Zach Taylor, smart football. I mean, Joe Burrow wasn't killing it. 20-24, efficient, only a $190, a touchdown and a pick. But Joe Mixon, right? They go heavy Joe Mixon, 28 carries, $165 and 2 touchdowns. T. Higgins also had a solid catch in the end zone for a touchdown. Big day. So it was a quiet day for Jamar Chase. Big day for T. Higgins and Joe Mixon. And then we just saw the Steelers return to exactly what the Steelers really are. You know what I mean? They're a team that's going to squeak to 8 or 9 wins. They'll find a way to do it. Mike Tomlin's damn good at doing it. And Big Ben reverts to the old 24-41. He threw 2 picks. They couldn't get the run game going with Najee. And yeah, they just looked bad. This is kind of the Steelers team that everybody expected going into that Sunday night Chargers game, and they somehow had the offense turning the clock back, looking like they're a serious offensive team. And then they come out this weekend, everybody back, right? TJ Watt was back and those guys, and they just they don't get the job done. Are we back in on the Bengals? I'm surely impressed with the Bengals. Anytime you beat the shit out of a division opponent this badly, you got to get some respect. But I mean, are we back? Are the Bengals, are they trying to salvage something? I mean, obviously they're in the wild card hunt, in the division hunt, to be honest, since they manhandled the Ravens and they're only a game back. But can we start taking the Bengals seriously again? Or they just, it's classic. It feels Jekyll and Hyde to me, where they'll come out a week or 2 later and just look like garbage.
Yeah, well, they made me look like fools when they blew out the Ravens, and then I was like, all right, they have expectations, and they lost to the New York Jets the following week. So, but I'm back on the train. Yeah, I'm right there because they're 7-4. They're a game behind the Ravens, who they've already blown out. They blew out Pittsburgh now. Joe Burrow had a great quote after the game. They asked him about sweeping Pittsburgh. He said, we have bigger aspirations and bigger goals than just beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I like that because the Steelers are in trouble. They're not playing well. But, yeah, I'm all aboard the Bengals right now because even at 7-4, like they had the Bears loss was really bad. The Jets loss was really bad. So I don't know. I could see this team easily sitting at like 8-3, 9-2. So they're 7-4 right now. They kind of snuck in with low expectations. Their defense has playing way better. The offensive line, not great at all, but playing much better. And I think it's a big deal that they were so dominant without Jamar Chase having a big game. The fact that you can just hand it over, let T. Higgins have a big game, and then just hammer Joe Mixon instead shows the versatility of their ways to score and win. So, like, yeah, it's hard not to be in on the Bengals right now. I'm not saying they're the best team in the AFC, but they're right there. They're up there. They have a good chance to win their division. They really do.
For sure. I mean, if they can get the offense continually humming, I'm not going to buy any stock. I don't trust Zach Taylor. I love the game plan there, right? When you can run, it just sets up Joe Burrow to have an easy day, make easy throws. Still finds a way to get a turnover in there. I don't like that. But I mean, if they can pound the rock and play defense, then they'll be set. Only a game out. Obviously, they manhandled the Ravens one time this year, and then they'll get to see the Ravens again later on. So, I mean, they're definitely interesting. They're definitely in the picture, but I ain't going out on a limb for the Bengals again. I'm not doing it. Plus they beat Big Ben. So,
well, yeah, you know how I feel about the Steelers, but I will say this about the Bengals. I'll be shocked if they're not at least a wild card team this year. They should have a playoff game at this point.
yeah, for sure. I would agree. If they don't have a playoff game, you should probably fire Zach Taylor immediately right after the last week of the season. Yeah, but I mean, if they can continue, I like this Bengals style of football. I don't think you have to go out and put Joe Burrow at risk every week. You have a dominant running back, play the game smart. It also sets up the play action pass game. And similar to the Sean McVay offense, right? It's that same scheme. Zach Taylor comes from the same pedigree. And it's surprising that it took this long to really pound the rock with Joe Mixon. Make the game easier on your quarterback. Let's keep it moving to another team that's surging up and is almost basically at the top of the AFC. We got the New England Patriots. Did whatever I thought they would do. I banked on them in the preview last week, 36-13 W over the Tennessee Titans. Obviously, the Titans are sliding fast without Derrick Henry. They did get some run game going, if I'm not mistaken, though. They did have two 100-yard rushers. Hilliard broke a big one. Obviously didn't matter in the long run. Mac Jones, precise again, 23-32, 310, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Not really a run-heavy game out of the Patriots. They didn't really have any big rushing days. Damian Harris had 40 yards on 11 carries, and Ramondre Stevenson 9 carries for 46 yards. But it was the Mac Jones day, right? He hooks up with Kendrick Bourne for 2 touchdowns, and they just go out there and play defense, right? Ryan Tannehill once again 11 of 21, 93 yards, a touchdown and a pick, and they just didn't. Yeah, they didn't have enough. They went into New England and got manhandled. Obviously, turnover differential was 4-0, 3 fumbles lost for Tennessee, and that interception compared to a clean slate on the New England side. So, I mean, if you're going to give a team 4 extra possessions, you're bound to lose. But shout out New England, continue to look good. Bill Belichick has his team right where he wants them, and heading into a Buffalo Bills showdown next week, which obviously we'll cover then. It's looking set up for a big game as the Patriots continue to surge in this middle portion of the season and into the backstretch. I mean, I'm in on New England. Are you buying in on New England?
I'm 100% buying in on New England at this point. Mac Jones, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. They look dominant and good again. And then, of course, to be fair, Tennessee they lost all 3 of their big offensive weapons. I've never had really faith in their defense all year. They had one good performance against the Rams. So it's like Tennessee's in just not a good spot. I don't see how they really win a lot of games moving forward. But yeah, New England looks so good. And Bill Belichick always talks about you have to play your best football after Thanksgiving. And here they are after Thanksgiving. They're starting to round into form and play their best football. Monday night's going to be really big against Buffalo in Buffalo. I think Mac Jones has a great opportunity in front of him to like steal the division here. Yes, they have another matchup still, but it'll be big this Monday night game. New England's got everything clicking. Mac Jones making good throws. Bill Belichick's defense does what it does, like always plays really good defense. So it's like, how can you not be in on New England right now? Feels deja vu-esque to the 2001 year. And just, like always, we made it full circle. It was kind of a weird start to the year, but here we are with the Chiefs starting to get good again. New England starting to get good again. And then in the NFC is Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. So it's like, it feels like we're always here with some of these teams. And the fact that New England's back after just one poor season, it's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. I just love New England. 20-0 shutout in the second half. And yeah, as you mentioned, the Titans thin on weapons with no AJ Brown and no Julio. The Julio acquisition kind of starting to look like a little bit of a disaster. I would say he hasn't really lived up to what you would what you would hope when you bring him in. And obviously the Derrick Henry blow, that was kind of really, everybody assumed the nail in the coffin when he went down a few weeks ago. But yeah, I mean, I can't wait. Monday Night Football. We'll obviously get into that on the preview for Week 13. But yeah, I mean, that's a big game, right? We're going to find out a lot about the Patriots for sure going into that, going on the road into Buffalo, a hostile environment, and that'll be Mac Jones' really first time entering that type of environment, division game, all the stakes in the NFL. Assume he's well prepared. He played enough big games at Alabama. But yeah, you got to love where you're at. Bill Belichick's probably loving it. And his team is all of a sudden looking scary as they kind of got Tom 2.0 trotting out there into the backstretch of this season and into the future.
Plus, the better New England looks, the more and more real the Bill Belichick Tom Brady Super Bowl looks like, and that would be just so much fun.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that is what we are all hoping somehow that we get. But yeah, I mean, keeping it forward, we might as well just move it into straight into Bill Belichick's old friend that moved down to Tampa Bay. Obviously, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers go on the road, get a huge, I consider a huge road victory considering how bad they've played. On the road this entire season. They win 38-31 over the Colts. Colts make a lot of mistakes, muffed punts. Carson Wentz threw an interception. It's kind of the same thing, right? When you have 2 picks, 3 fumbles lost, and you commit 5 turnovers to 2, it's just you're not set up to win football games. It was a game where Carson Wentz honestly was pretty good. Like he looked good. Brady wasn't really that great, but I mean, what do you know? Lombardi Lenny kicks it into high gear, and that's why he's not in the doghouse like Rojo. Even though Rojo does toss in a touchdown, it's all Leonard Fournette. 17 carries, 100 on the ground, 3 touchdowns, and obviously he had 7 catches, 31 yards, and a touchdown. Rob Gronkowski leads the team in targets. That's Tom Brady's old friend from New England. 7 catches, $123 on 10 targets. So he was feeding Gronk heavy. Fournette had 8 targets as well. It's funny to see him. Those 2 out targeting the wide receiver core, obviously Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Super interesting, big win for the Bucs. Obviously, now that the Packers have won as well, they kind of keep up there for that 1 seed in the NFC, as I think they really, really, really badly need home field. There are 2 different teams, home and away, and kind of a devastating blow to the Colts, but it's not devastating when you look at how bad the Titans have been, and they're really going south fast. So the Colts still have, with a lot of football to play, they can still win this division. Only 2 games out of it, and they're clearly the better team at this point in time over the Titans. But big win for Tom Brady on the road and the Bucs. I mean, what are we feeling here? It was definitely interesting to see them switch up the gears and go with the running game when not heavy Tom Brady, the 5 touchdowns, no picks. They kind of realize run the ball, and we'll get this W.
Yeah, I agree. Big win for Tampa Bay. I was pretty disappointed with Indianapolis. I really liked them this Sunday, and I picked them. And even though they made, just like you said, they made a ton of mistakes, and Carson played well for the most part, and they were still right there at the end. But like, you got to play better, especially down the stretch like of the season. You got to make less mistakes. That's really it. You're kind of too far into the season to still be turning the ball over that many times in a game. You can't expect to win against the Super Bowl defending champs and Tom Brady, a really good team, whether you're at home or not. But for the Buccaneers, it's very good to see the offense like be able to pound out a game like that with Leonard Fournette. And it's just funny how even though they're older, Rob Gronkowski still just makes like a world of difference for Tom Brady in that passing game. It's just funny that he's still that impactful. It's also very impressive. So shout out to Gronkowski. Yeah, I was disappointed with the Colts. They just made too many mistakes, but Tampa Bay, and they're right there. They're starting to round into form. It's all about like getting healthy to me. They need AB back still. They're gonna need him for the playoff run, and hopefully they can get the secondary going a little bit better. Sean Murphy Bunting being back, I believe this is his 2nd game back now. That makes a big difference. So yeah, I like where the Bucs are heading. They're right there for the 1 seed. It's just interesting. I'm waiting to watch Arizona play them because we did get to see the Green Bay Arizona matchup. I want to see an Arizona Tampa Bay matchup, but yeah, Tampa Bay is right there. It's hard not to be nothing but positive with Tampa Bay. And at the end of the day, their quarterback is still Tom Brady. So it's hard to feel like they're going to lose a playoff game.
Facts. That's how I felt exactly when they got the ball with like 2 minutes left. I was like, well, the Colts left a little too much time for the GOAT to lead a drive. And obviously he led his 3rd career game winning drive at the Colts. That's the most by any opposing quarterback against the Colts. Another one, the Bucs, 4 rushing touchdowns for the first time since 2012. So they kind of really banked heavy on the Leonard Fournette running game and got a little bit out of Rojo too with a touchdown. And then back to the stat that was on the preview was the Bucs. They did not allow a 100-yard rusher. Jonathan Taylor did get a touchdown, but only finished with 16 for 83. So it was just interesting to see that they were able to keep that streak going and kind of stifle that attack just a little bit out of the Colts, because obviously we've seen over the past couple of weeks where the Colts have really succeeded. It's been huge Jonathan Taylor games, and they really that's the strength of the defense, right? Vita Vea is back, and Ndamukong Suh in that middle. They realize let's not get beat up by the run game. Let's force Carson Wentz into doing something. And it was just surprising to see a Frank Reich team commit that many turnovers, especially the muffed punts. Like it's just inexcusable stuff. Obviously, it's not 100% on the head coach. He's not out there catching the punts. But that kind of shit happens, and you lose games because of it. That's kind of the theme of the league when you look at it.
Yeah, and it's just like was such a good opportunity for them to be at home. Titans lost again. You would get a huge home win against the Bucs. It would have been confidence building, but instead they made a ton of mistakes, which is uncharacteristic for them. And here they are now. They got to retool instead of feeling good. But they get Houston next week, so they should feel real good after next week.
Yeah, exactly. They just got to keep playing Colts football. They'll get back on the ground next week. They'll get things going, and all be good. They'll walk away next week 7-6, trending upwards, and I still expect them to win the division, regardless of the result of this week. But yeah, clean it up. Obviously, you want to clean it up, play smart. During the game at the beginning, I was like, dude, the AFC might not want to play Indianapolis, right? Like they're really humming at the right time, and then they kind of gave that one away. But they're still in a good spot, I'd say, with the way that AFC South is trending. It's trending on their direction. Let's go to the last thing really on the slate before we jump into this across the league, some random topics. Another turnover fest game. What a theme. It was kind of the theme of the week. It looks like the teams that lost big or lost games turned the rock over. And what do you know? We got the Browns and the Ravens meet up. Actually, the Ravens actually eked it out. 4 interceptions out of Lamar. Not the greatest Lamar game. Didn't really tear it up on the ground. Sloppy, hard to watch football is the way I'll describe it. I was just like, Jesus. Like the Browns couldn't move the football. They give the ball back to Lamar. Lamar throws an interception. The Browns can't move the football. They give it back to Lamar. Lamar throws another interception. Rinse, repeat. I mean, it was just like, what the hell was I watching on my TV on Sunday night? But regardless, I mean, Lamar Jackson, they find a way to lose, or they find a way to win. My bad. I'm all mixed up in the thoughts. They find a way to win. The Browns, once again, do Browns things. They drop to 6-6. They're kind of, the spiral continues there, and they really give it away. I mean, they had so many extra opportunities, and they fumbled the game away. No pun intended. As we watched Baker Mayfield, he fumbled the one drop back on the screen pass. That was disgusting to watch. It was just an ugly game. Like the Ravens win. I don't even know if I can hype them up there. They're 8-3, sole possession of the 1 seed. But if you're a Ravens fan, I don't think you're sitting there smiling today going into this week. You know, you got to clean up a lot of things. They got to get that offense back going somehow. It's been a couple weeks of just bad offensive outputs. And they got to figure some things out. Greg Roman has to get the guys going. And then if you're the Browns, I don't even know what to say about the Browns. Just punt and good luck. Find a trade suitor for Baker Mayfield ASAP, because I think that era, obviously, I've said it a couple weeks now, it looks like it's coming to an end fast. But I mean, what do we make of the Ravens? They go out with a W, not an impressive W though.
Yeah, the Ravens find a way to get a win, an ugly win. Feels very Baltimore-esque. They got an ugly win last week, even though Lamar didn't play. But yeah, I'm just concerned for the Ravens offense because this is the second game in a row for Lamar where he didn't look good. Obviously, the last time we saw him was not the Bears game, but the Thursday night game before that against Miami, where they lost 22-10 and they could not get anything going offensively. So that means the next time we saw Lamar was Sunday night against the Browns, and they could not get anything going offensively. The Ravens are just a well-run organization, and they're well-coached, and they know how to eke out wins, whether it's a dominating run game or it's ugly wins against Cleveland barely. But like, kudos to the Ravens for getting it done, but they need to figure it out offensively because you're too talented and Lamar is too damn good for you to be only putting up 16 points and just to not be doing better offensively. Like, there's really no excuse to me. They had Marquise Brown. He was questionable. He ended up playing. Mark Andrews was there. they just have to be better, really. But from a Cleveland perspective, if you want to, let's give some credit to the Browns defense. They finally showed up and played well, but unfortunately for them, Baker Mayfield's their quarterback, and they can't move the ball at all. You get 4 interceptions, and you get a field goal out of that. A field goal. That's horrible. That's horrendous. That's the only reason the Ravens won, was simply because Cleveland's offense was worse. I don't know what you do with Baker Mayfield moving forward. I'm sure he's starting somewhere next year. I doubt it's for Cleveland at this point, because the Browns roster is so damn good. Like, on paper, at least, that you would think that like a better quarterback play could really turn the team around. Instead of being 6-6, they should probably be 8-3 with the Ravens.
Yeah, exactly. Baker is he's holding them back. Those throws though by Lamar, yeah, those were just those were bad. But it was funny to just see the Ravens turn the clock back. They ran that little Dolphins defense where they just straight zero blitz. And Baker had nothing for it. He wanted nothing of it. Obviously, he's banged up with the shoulder injury. But yeah, I mean, the Browns, they couldn't get the run game going, right? 7 carries, 20 yards out of Kareem Hunt, 8 carries, 16 yards out of Nick Chubb. They're a run heavy team, obviously. And if you can't get that going, their offense 99% of the time is going to look like dog shit. And what do you know? It did not look good. Yeah, and yeah, shout out to the defense. The defense forced the turnovers. You still got to catch the interceptions and make the plays. So yeah, I mean, it was all really offense. And when you look at Kevin Stefanski, who's an offensive head coach, to not really have adjustments or anything to kind of counter it going forward, you really got to question where they go, because as you said, the roster is kind of stacked up and ready to compete. And Baker Mayfield's kind of he's holding them back and he's holding himself back too, costing himself massive amounts of bread that were on the line. He probably should have negotiated or signed a deal last offseason. Now looking at what this season has turned into, because next year is really going to be a prove it year most likely. And yeah, I mean, he'll find somewhere, right? There's like Kirk Cousins carved out a career in this league and got hundreds of millions of dollars guaranteed. So Baker Mayfield, he'll find a landing spot because there's enough teams that need a quarterback. But yeah, see, what do we say?
The thing with Baker, though, is he just would have been better off if he just sat out the games after he hurt his shoulder on that, making the tackle after his own interception earlier in the year, because the Browns were losing. They're 6-6 anyway. They're losing those games. Baker wasn't playing well. Like, you were better off just having them lose anyway and you being on the sideline, and then you could have had the fans and people rooting saying, oh, well, we would have won if Baker played, even though that's probably not true. But like, that's how you get your money. That's how you get your contract. Like, it's not Big 12 football. You don't get credit for playing hurt. It's it's not a good business decision.
Exactly. Any thoughts on the backyard football plays? Lamar running backwards 20 yards, launching one ball up to Mark Andrews, and then doing it again for a touchdown. That's kind of rock bottom when your defense is letting up those. That's kind of, yeah, your team has finally hit rock bottom when the guys are pulling out the Madden scramble back 20 yards and heave it up off the back foot. That's
the MVP Lamar touch.
Exactly. Yeah, good win for the Ravens, but let's see. We got to see where it's going forward, because New England looks like the best team in the AFC right now. So Baltimore, figure out your offensive issues. Cleveland, figure out your quarterback issues. And let's keep this thing rolling. Yeah, that's really on the slate. We'll jump into some random stuff. Just some quick picks. Obviously, Cam Newton, 5 of 21, like 90 yards, 2 picks. Ugly day.
Horrible.
He went from I'm back to the free agent line after the season. Kind of sad to see. I mean, I'm not a huge Cam fan, but I mean, when you play that bad, there's nothing you can say to defend it. Any quick thoughts on that? I know you're a huge Cam Newton guy.
It just makes me sad. I was rooting for him the last couple of weeks, but like, there's no defense. He went 5 for 21 for 92 yards and 2 interceptions. Like, to me, like, that kind of performance, like, damn, dude, you might as well just play someone else, Phillip Walker. That, like, I don't know what you do with that. It just makes me sad because I was rooting for Cam, but that it's not defensible. That was such a piss poor performance. Like, there's no words.
Nope. And I'm going to go on the other side. Honestly, the guy who always gets ripped in Miami, Tua, 27 of 31, 230, a touchdown, no picks, clean day, gets a win. Maybe you should get an O-line, build an O-line around him and let him do his thing. It might not be him. And getting Jalen Waddle into space, Jalen Waddle was pretty electric. He showed how fast he is when you can get him in the open field. So, I mean, hey, Flores, maybe do that instead of looking to get rid of your quarterback who's on a rookie deal still for a $40 million a year quarterback. And you lose that flexibility, right? That's the good thing with Tua on a rookie deal. You can add pieces to that roster. So maybe Miami should do that. I don't know why they're in a rush. But if somebody does get to it and a team in the right situation, they could be set up for some good things.
It's just such an advantage now, that rookie contract. We saw it with the Seahawks early on. The Eagles did it with Carson. It's just, if you can have the Patriots about to do it with Mac Jones, if you have a quarterback on that and you can spend the money other places in the roster and your quarterback's playing well, it's a cheat code.
Exactly. And he didn't do it. And he had a good day against a pretty decent unit too, right? Panthers defense is not, they're no slouches. They have a decent
Yeah.
defensive unit out there. So credit to him. Swinging it across, ugly game in New York. Jalen Hurts 3 picks. Weird game planning. And the Eagles, who I once at a time said not another loss on the schedule. Yeah, I meant this week coming up. That's when that starts. They fought a 5-7, 13-7 loss at the Meadowlands. Yeah, just ugly game. Any quick thoughts on that?
The Eagles are just kind of in a weird situation because the draft class for quarterbacks isn't great. I don't really know where you go off Jalen Hurts. He shows flashes at times, but then he makes really poor decisions at times. It's like, it's hard to believe he's the franchise guy, but he's not bad enough to where you would tank. You could still get wins with him. So I don't know. Weird situation for them to figure out. And I don't see a solution necessarily next season. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, stupid plays, stupid interceptions before half, sloppy fumble towards the end when they were driving by Boston Scott. It just happens. As I said, the opening drive, they hit a couple throws, and I think Sirianni got super pass happy, and then they got back to the run and realized, damn, like we can run it. We ran ourselves right back into the game, come up short. Should happen. Jalen Reagor probably should have caught the ball, but it is what it is in this league. You don't get yourself into that predicament. What are we looking at? Obviously, San Fran, 34-26. We mentioned them before. They're getting healthy, 6-5, beat Kirk Cousins, put them to 5-6. Minnesota holds on to that last wild card spot at 5-6. That's hilarious. There's so many teams in play at 5-6 and 5-7 for that last wild card spot. And San Fran kind of positions themselves nestled in above 500 into the seventh spot, I believe it is, the second to last wild card spot. Any quick thoughts on San Fran kind of putting it back together and getting some wins?
Yeah, they're starting to show the team that I thought they could be, and they're going to be just like the Colts in the AFC. I think this is the same in the NFC. Like, this is the team that you don't really want to play heading into the playoffs.
Exactly. Heavy 27 carries, $133 out of Eli Mitchell and a touchdown. Deebo Samuel, though, 2 touchdowns, but he did have a groin injury, I think 1 to 2 weeks. Kyle Shanahan said he will be out. So something to look at going forward. They always seem to get injuries, but Eli Mitchell doing his thing. And the 49ers look good. Next one, Denver Chargers. Chargers, screw you guys. They fall to 6-5. Just look bad. Another 2 touchdowns, 2 picks out of Herbert. They lose 28-13 at Mile High. Teddy Bridgewater, top-notch game management, 11 of 18, buck 29 and a touchdown. Didn't do anything wrong, right? And then they go heavy Melvin Gordon, heavy Javonte Williams, and they get the job done. They're both now 6-5, the Broncos and the Chargers. Chargers team we were so high on. And now it's looking like them. They're tied with the Broncos, and they're kind of falling out of it, at least top the competition-wise.
Yeah, the whole AFC West is like within 2 games of each other. It's very close. But this game specifically, I just frustrated myself. I had a feeling about Denver. I was kind of thinking, I mean, the Chargers were, I think, 3-point favorites, 2.5-point favorites. But I just felt like it was a game Denver could win. Obviously, it's in Denver. They have a good defense. You can run the ball on the Chargers, and we saw it. They did exactly what I thought they were capable of doing. So I'm not surprised at the outcome. I'm more upset with myself that I didn't go with my initial thought, and I switched it to the Chargers.
Same. I fooled myself. I was never really in on the Broncos, but I let the Chargers fool me for another week. Shout out Drew Lock, though. He gets in 7 passes, finds a way to throw himself an interception. That's always good to see. Limited snaps when you're throwing picks. Yeah, really last one on the slate was a Thursday Thanksgiving. Raiders on the road beat decimated Dallas, pushed them down to 7-4. Raiders 6-5 as well. So we got that pack of AFC West teams at 6-5, obviously just behind the Chiefs. And then we're kind of seeing Dallas's perfect season slowly starting to slide, typical Mike McCarthy fashion, to be honest. I don't know if anybody's really surprised. This was bound to happen at some point. Any quick thoughts on that? Obviously, everybody, they had a ton of guys. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb didn't play. Amari Cooper didn't play. But they found themselves back into the game and then just couldn't get the job done in the end.
Yeah, I mean, they hung around and they played well. Obviously, it went to overtime. It was a close game, but If I'm Dallas, you kind of get the that little little scapegoat of saying you don't have CD Lamb or Amari because they've looked really well when you have those guys on the field outside of Denver. So, yeah, Dallas is sliding for me. They were, like I said earlier, there's some separation in NFC now. Clearly, to me, they're the second tier below the contenders, but I'm not 100% out quite yet. I don't see why the offense still can't be very lethal once they get those guys back.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard Amari's trending to miss another week. That would be this Thursday. McCarthy said if he doesn't practice, he won't play. He's dealing with COVID, obviously. And yeah, I mean, it was just a weird game on that Thursday. It was kind of, we mentioned on the preview, heavy run game, run the ball if you're the Cowboys, 10 carries, 36 yards out of Pollard, 925 and a touchdown out of Zeke. It wasn't typical, especially with all the wide receiver, those guys out. And then you look at Josh Jacobs, 22 carries, 87 yards and a touchdown. Just look at a game, the Raiders, they had it from the jump. They looked like the better team out of the gates. They looked like they wanted it more. And then they suddenly looked like they didn't want it at all when they let the Cowboys send it to overtime down the stretch in the fourth. But yeah, I mean, 7-4, bad loss. Obviously, they're still in a good spot in the NFC East. But as far as the entire NFC picture, they're trending downwards and kind of falling out of it from the top group, the top three at least. And as I said earlier, I'd probably 49ers, if they continue to get healthy and play that football, I'd probably take them over the Cowboys as well. So, I mean, it's just another thing. Obviously, when you're quote unquote America's team, you were always going to be watched and under a microscope. So we'll see where Dak and the Cowboys and Mike McCarthy, who I think is out for week 13 with COVID. We'll see where that goes.
Also, shout out to Deshaun Jackson, 3 for 102 and a touchdown. That man knows how to burn Dallas always, no matter what uniform he's wearing.
Exactly. My type of guy there. So, I mean, that's really anything else, unless you have any kind of anything that I missed on the docket going across the board.
No, not really. Seattle sucked again. Good luck keeping Russell Wilson. That's going to end ugly.
Oh yeah, for sure. I forgot about that. Yeah, Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson will both not be employed by the Seahawks next year. Book it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was ugly. Urban Meyer, you still suck. And yeah, Houston, you guys suck too. I don't know. You let Zach Wilson with half a knee come in and beat you. I have no words, but yeah, let's move on real quick. Spread picks for week 12, how we did. Obviously, you went 5-9. I go 6-8. I pick up another game. Think that's been 2 weeks in a row where I gain one game on you, but gain nothing on John. So we're not really celebrating anything. And yeah, it's funny. Our records, we all improve. Like if we go straight across the board, everybody did one game better than the next guy in line. But ugly week, obviously. Gotta get better if we're just gonna let John run away with this thing, and not even really run away with it. We're just letting him coast. Like he's not even forcing his hand at all by having a good week.
I've had 4 poor weeks in a row. At some point, I'd like to think it would turn around. I think it's this Sunday it's going to turn around. Yeah, 13 games under 500. My goal was still to be just above 500, and I'm falling behind, but I'm shooting for it still. There's a reason 90% of my betting is DFS/prop bets, and 10% is traditional betting. I know what my strengths are, but I can still. I think I can still hit 500. I need to get a couple good weeks in a row, though.
And there's a reason I do alt spreads and money lines, because straight spreads, yeah, there's no point. That's a walking disaster. Obviously happy with the Raiders, but I mean, Rams, Vikings, Chargers suck. I can't even believe I picked the Jags again. I can't believe I did it. And then obviously the Steelers and Texans, I don't know, dude, just a lot of bad picks. That's what I did. A lot of bad picks. Saints one was a bad pick. They had no running backs. I could sit here all day and just rip on my picks. They're not pretty, but hey, we'll go into week 13. We'll attack it head on. We'll get the data team working on week 13's picks, and I'll probably have a big week coming up for sure.
Should have known the Steelers were screwed when I picked them to cover.
Yeah, too bad if we can't do on the fly adjustments. We both, honestly, I'm not even mad at that because we all picked the Steelers. So it's like that one's not even sweating that Steelers one. But yeah, disappointing squad. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. I want to thank everybody for listening. Please like, subscribe, and comment. As we always appreciate the comments. As always, the Spotify link will be posted in the description of this video. If you're audio only listener, go ahead and follow us on Spotify, as we upload on there and on YouTube at the same exact time. And yeah, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you on the week 13 preview.